absolutely. But I wanted to play a little game very quickly. Keep or sell on basically the starting 11 from the United game. So I'll take you through it, and you give me: would you keep him or would you sell him? And be as brutal as you want or as honest as you want, because we love that sort of thing. So obviously we'll start and go with Andre Onana.
I think
I can chuck a last chance option in there as well if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say I think for him, because he's probably still only sort of a relatively new signing in terms of, he's not had, a massive amount of time. I'd probably say he's on his last chance. I think there's too many mistakes that he's made for my liking. I get a little bit nervous every time he gets on the ball, if I'm honest, as well. He takes a little bit too long for me when he's trying to play out. But yeah, I think sometimes you can see, and he makes really good saves. He'll make a really good save, but then the same token, he's made so many bad errors. It sort of counteracts that. And as a keeper, you just want somebody who's consistent, who you can sort of trust. And obviously, if they're good with the feet as well, that's a bonus. But he's definitely on his last chance, I'd say. I'd be, if I had to pick keep or sell, I'd be more inclined to say keep, but only on the basis that we've only got Tom Eaton and Binder at the moment, who are, I think we definitely need to get a top class keeper. You look at the best teams in world football at the moment; they've all got a top class goalkeeper in net who can command the box, make big saves, reliable. And yeah, we definitely haven't got that at the moment.
A name that came up last night when we were talking about Onana was Aaron Ramsdale at Southampton. You think they've got a minus 42 goal difference, but it could have easily been minus 90. But with him in the sticks, that's the sort of player I would have imagined when obviously Raya came in at Arsenal. We probably should have been tapping up and saying, if you want to play first team football, you come up to Manchester United.
Yeah, and he's got the Premier League experience, which for me, is what we need to be aiming at. Not just in net. In all our positions now, when we're recruiting and bringing transfers in, I think you need proven Premier League experience, because we've seen it so many times. Bringing players in from the Dutch league or the Spanish league or wherever, some of these players, can't find their feet in the Premier League, and it takes 18 months before you start seeing any sort of real form, and we can't afford to really wait for that amount of time at the moment with where we are. So, yeah, that's just another thing I would sort of be looking at if I was recruiting, players who have been doing it week in, week out in the Premier League.
Yeah, so I'll give you the back three that we had. So we had Nusa Mazraoui, Harry Maguire, and Matthias de Ligt. What's your thoughts on those three at the back?
I think Mazraoui's been a decent signing. I do like him. I think for what we paid for him. I think once we got a couple of better players, and obviously the team was playing a little bit more confidence and stuff like that, I think he would be a good addition and a good player. So I'd keep Mazraoui. I think he's been one of our better players. I think Maguire, although I do like Maguire, I think he's had a lot of challenging moments in a Manchester United shirt. I do think he, on his day, he's a decent defender. But again, when I look at mistakes and obviously his pace now probably coming towards the last stages of his sort of top peak years, I'd probably move him on now and try and get some money for him. De Ligt, yeah, again, I'd probably keep him just on the basis that he's a relatively new addition to the squad. I think he's done okay. I think again he'd probably benefit if we was a little bit stronger in the spine of the team and had a little bit more experience and sort of was playing a little bit better. I think in them defensive positions at the moment we've been getting really exposed and overran because everything's just been too disjointed in front of him, and the formation, as I said before, square pegs in round holes. So we've just not been, as stable as we should be. So yeah, I'd keep the two and get rid of Maguire probably.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll probably agree with you, to be fair. So the two wing backs that we had were Diogo Dallo and Patrick Dorgu.
Well, I'd keep Dorgu. Obviously, he's one for the future. I think he's only just came into the club, so still early days for him. But I think I've liked what I've seen in terms of his energy and his work rate, and he looks like he's got a bit of quality on the ball. But again, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to find his feet. And again, playing in a poor side at the moment, it's not going to you know be a smooth transition, let's say. So yeah, I'd definitely keep him. Dallo, um, again, he's another player where I think he'd be a good squad player. I don't think he's probably the answer in terms of playing every single week and to sort of take us to that next level. I don't probably think he would be the answer in terms of like if we was going to be challenging. But I think I like his attitude. He always seems to work hard and put a shift in. So I'd keep him and sort of use him as a squad player because he can play. He's quite versatile as well. He can play left and right. So I'd keep him.
Would you, when we sold Wan-Bissaka, would you have preferred it the other way around? Would you have preferred to have kept Wan-Bissaka and then sold Dallo, or
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka for me in a United shirt never really did that much wrong. I just think because of the way he obviously wanted to play, and obviously Wan-Bissaka's attributes probably going forward was never his main strength. He was a brilliant 1v1 defender, um, and very consistent for me. But yeah, I just think because of the way we sort of wanted to play and set up, he just fell out of favour. And for his own benefit, really, because he definitely should be playing in the Premier League. He's too good to be just sat on a bench, or if he's not going to be involved. I was a little bit disappointed, really, that we let him go. I genuinely liked Wan-Bissaka, and I gradually, over time, he was improving a little bit going forward. He was never going to be, like a Trent or somebody who was whipping balls in from like deep and dictating the game from right back. But we've seen him since he's gone to West Ham. At the weekend he set the goal up for Bowen. He's looked solid. Playing in that right back position for West Ham. And if you asked wingers in the Premier League, probably who do you not want to come up against in terms of like in a duel, I'd say Wan-Bissaka is probably the first name that you'd say because he's 1v1 defending's brilliant.
yeah, yeah? I've always been a firm believer that if you might be really good going forward, but you need to have the basics down first. And if you want a right wing back that wants to defend and attack, knuckle down on the defensive side of it first. So, yeah, Wan-Bissaka for me was probably at one point one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league. So
Yeah,
to have really that argument between sort of Dallo and Wan-Bissaka, I'm probably with you. I probably would have. I understand what you mean with sort of Dallo as a sort of squad player, but if I had the choice at the summer whether to sell Dallo or Wan-Bissaka, I probably would have kept Wan-Bissaka, to be honest. Because yeah,
yeah, yeah,
defensively really good. Obviously, going forward, but again, get the basics, do your first job right, and then everything else falls into place afterwards. We had a midfield two, and we've already spoken quite a bit about Casemiro, but it was Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte.
yeah. Well, in an ideal world, you'd get rid of Casemiro now. I think he's been a great player in his career. Had a really good career in his first season at United. He did really well, but obviously now I think we're at a point where his best years are behind him, and the Premier League, the speed and stuff of the game is probably just too much for him now. So I'd definitely move him on, even though I know it's easier said than done because we've shot ourselves in the foot again with giving him a massive contract on massive money. So it's going to be difficult to get rid of him. But yeah, for the answer to this quiz like type of thing, I'd get rid of him and I'd keep Ugarte. I think obviously he's been probably again one of our better signings in recent times. I think he's decent on the ball. He gets around the pitch. He's got legs, which you definitely need in the middle of the midfield in the Premier League. Um, and hopefully as time goes on, he'll sort of gradually get a little bit better and start to acclimatise a little bit more to the English game.
Yeah, completely agree. I think, like we've said, Casemiro probably in an ideal world needs to be moved on now, and that will certainly release that ridiculous amount of wages. And Agate, for me, he's getting there. Played particularly quite well in sort of like that last third of the game against Everton, and obviously had a really good goal. But yeah, no, I'm exactly the same as you. We'll do Bruno Fernandes next. Obviously, came in the COVID year and was unbelievable. Not really what he was, but where do you sort of stand on Bruno Fernandes at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely keep Bruno. I think he's been probably our best signing that we've made in the last 6-7 years. I think he's been really consistent. The numbers that he's sort of racked up is really good in terms of the squads that he's played in. He's not had that much real world class quality around him throughout them years. So to still be delivering and picking up the numbers that he's getting is testament to himself. Yeah, there's really poor moments in terms of like some of the stuff he does. I don't like some of the antics and the sort of not the sulking, but like he sort of gets a little bit too animated and wound up sometimes, which as the captain you need to nip that in the bud a little bit and try and lead a little bit more by example. But in terms of his ability on the ball, you can't really question what he's done and obviously how he's performed. Yeah, he's had some bad games, as what every player does. But I think overall, when you look at who's probably been United's best player, best signing in the last sort of 5-6 years, I think everyone would probably point towards Bruno and sort of say that he's been our sort of main man, if you like. So definitely keep him and hopefully, as I say, if we can start building a good team and bring some better additions into the squad. And as I say, in maybe the next couple of years, once we start playing a little bit more like the way Amarin wants to play, once he's got his players in, hopefully we'll see a better side of Bruno. And I think he plays, for me, he plays a lot better when he's in that deeper position. I think he's in the second half when he sort of dropped back a little bit, was getting more of the ball. Just had a bit more of an impact on the game for me, dictating and trying to, pick passes because I think that's a big part of his game. He likes to play them Hollywood balls in behind and sort of get us on the front foot. Yeah, sometimes when you're giving balls away or you're trying things, you're going to give the ball away and people can get frustrated. But what I say is, I'd rather somebody like Bruno trying to create something or trying to play forward than just passing backwards and sideways all game and going nowhere. So yeah, I'd definitely keep Bruno, and hopefully we can build and add some more quality around him to hopefully make him even better.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And yeah, finally we've got Joshua Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund. Obviously, your position. What are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I mean, I've not been too complimentary of both. Obviously, being a former striker, and obviously, I watch them positions more than any other position when I watch a game of football. So I've been quite critical of both in the last sort of few months when I've watched games. Just Xerxes probably not had as much time and opportunities as Højlund has. But I just think, when I watch Xerxes, he just doesn't strike me as, a Man United player. He just seems to stroll around. And I mean, when he comes on off the bench, he doesn't really seem to have much of an impact. I mean, he does have moments, don't get me wrong. And I think he probably could work well if we played in a different formation. I think if we played in like a 4-4-2 and he was maybe slightly deeper, um, that could potentially work, and I think he would probably be and show up a little bit better than what he has done. Um, but I just think from what I've seen so far, and obviously the output in terms of as a striker and attacker, when you look at the goals and assist columns and obviously that kind of stuff, both players are far short of where they should be and where we need to be. So yeah, difficult one really. I think both are sort of in positions where you don't know whether to sort of stick or twist with them, because although as a centre forward you need to be scoring goals and delivering every other game really when you're playing for a top club. Um, we do see little moments from him, and obviously the irony's still relatively young, so you maybe want to give him that little bit more of a benefit of the doubt. Um, but no, I think to answer it bluntly, if it was me, I would probably get rid of both, and I'd be looking at bringing a real top quality striker in, because that's a massive part of winning football matches. Scoring the goals. You look at all the best teams, all the teams that are doing well currently. They've all got players that can stick the ball in the back of the net, or they've all got players who can make an impact and make that difference, be that game changer. And at the moment, we've not got that at all. It's everybody's looking around and hoping someone will come up with a moment of magic, and that's the only way we're really looking like scoring or getting anything from a game. So yeah, unfortunately, I would get rid of both. Although I do think there probably is a player in both of them in potentially time or in a different scenario. Maybe, I mean, maybe better for both of them if they went somewhere else and sort of played in a different team that might suit their game better. Do you know what I mean? I think at the moment, when you look at our setup and the sort of way that we're playing, for Hoyland, he's probably wanting balls in behind because that's his strength. He's quick. He wants to be running on towards the goal. He wants to be getting on the end of crosses. We don't cross the ball, and we don't really play them, intricate balls, so you're running through on goal. So you're sort of nullifying all these strengths, really. And Xerxes, again, I think he could do a job as a 10, dropping in and playing with maybe another out and out number 9. But, that's, again, not really how we're playing at the moment. So, yeah.